Hey, hello, and welcome, guys. Welcome. If you are with us today, we are super excited. I am here again with the most incredible Jane Petit, and have we got a topic for you? I mean, Jane and I were discussing this yesterday because it's a topic that I think right now is taking, well, definitely getting a lot of airtime and also creating a lot of challenges for people. It's a good thing and a bad thing. And so it could be controversial, this chat, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk to you about man versus machine. Yes, you heard it right. Man versus machine. So go on, Jane. I know this is something really close to your heart. Go on, kick us off.
It is really close to my heart because, full honesty point here, I am 46. I know I probably don't look it, but I am 46. So I started in recruitment when it was a phone and a Rolodex and the yellow pages. And now I'm in a world where we've got ChatGPT, we've got mailer lists, we've got Zoom AI, like we've got so many tools. And I adore it. I absolutely adore it. I love how the industry has changed in the last 24 years. But I also think we've been given this like really easy access of tools, and a lot of recruitment companies are using them terribly and not getting the results that they want because it's been like we've been handed this whole here. ChatGPT will write your content, MailChimp will send your emails, AI can transcribe that for you. And it's like we're in a play pit of stuff we don't fully understand. So I suppose what we're jumping on to talk about today is, where do we meet in the middle? Where can we use, I suppose, classic old school techniques in recruitment and make AI really work for us as an industry, but without handing everything over to automation? Because we are in a people-based industry. We're in a place where business is done face-to-face and via the phone, and COVID really changed that for us. Recruiters went from meeting their candidates and clients to, hey, we can't now because, we're in a pandemic. And that hasn't bounced back as strongly as what I think it should. So, yeah, we've got some opinions. We don't think AI is bad. I think it's a brilliant tool. But I think that there's quite a lot of misuse in the industry at the moment that we're going to give some airtime to today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And again, I embrace technology because I think we have to, in the same, exactly as you're saying. And in the same way, call me, the traditional recruiter, but I still see that the old methods of doing, business development and sales and so on, for as an example, because that's kind of really what we're diving into here, how we use it within that tool and function is really it's missing. You've got to have an element of humanity. But what I noticed, I don't know what again, Jane, your thoughts on that, is the thing is a lot of recruitment businesses at the moment don't seem to have those keen business development people in those teams. They don't seem to have the skills that they'd like within their team, or maybe within themselves, but certainly within their teams, that enable them to be able to have, it's like my business development funnel is lacking, or it's broken, or it's just not working anymore. And so when you are dangled that carrot of, hey, there's this fantastic tool over here that you can automate, that you can take this reliance on or competence of the people that you've got in your team, you can remove that and you could just be using this incredible tool that's going to do the job for you. And then, I mean, I'm not being funny, but I'd be that person. I'd be like, yeah, hell, tell me about it. I want to try this out. I'd be straight onto it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where I think some of us are that we're getting tempted by shiny squirrelitis, or this idea of building a funnel that's going to bring us in lots of business. Like, I'm all for building funnels, but I think sometimes that terminology itself makes us think that's got to be something really technical. And to be really clear, a funnel can be, I make 80 business development calls a day, and that is my funnel that leads me to business. If that works for you and you love that, crack on. If it's not broke, don't try and fix it. Your funnel might be that you I'll give you a story. So when I set up my training consultancy, I did it very I'm going to say old school, but I mixed it up. The first thing I did was I bought a list of 1,000 recruitment companies in the UK with less than 50 staff. And I created a mailing list, and I created 12 emails that I sent out over a period of 4 months, which were all automated. And that was going to be my primary funnel. But what I also did was I had a VA who went and connected with all of those people on LinkedIn for me and sent them an intro message through LinkedIn. So whilst my predominant funnel was the email campaign, it was also backed up by sales activity. And then anybody that was opening my emails, they got a phone call. And that phone call was Jane, categorically Jane. Or if they responded on LinkedIn, they got a voice note from Jane. So we mixed AI, email lists, CRM campaigns with an actual human being. Not many people bought from my email list, but my conversion rate was about 85% from people that I spoke to. But the funnel was a tool to get people onto the phone for me to do business development, to sell my training consultancy business from that side.
Yeah.
And I think, great form of data management there, Jane. I get the impression that a lot of people are veering away from business development because it's either not their bag or they haven't got something in the business. So we're creating these email channels, these LinkedIn reach outs, but we're not following up with a person. And that's the difference that makes the difference here, is when somebody picks up the phone and says, hey, we're connected on LinkedIn. I've sent you a couple of messages. Oh, we've had a bit of a chat. I'm now calling to properly introduce myself. I'm Jane, calling from Centered Excellence. How are you? And off we go.
I think that's a really valid point, is that there's place, isn't there? The where we can use automation is to do what I'd call like that grunt work, or to, creating triggers, creating campaigns, creating the process, the pipeline. But ultimately, what we want it to do is to get people to raise their hand to say, yes, I'm interested. And then we get them onto a phone call, because that's the point in which we can actually start having a conversation, but also moving somebody closer to that sales process, isn't it? To move, money changing hands, as they say, but to somebody becoming a client. But I think what also is happening, or what I'm hearing, is that people are investing in automation to do that front end.
Yeah.
They're handing that over to somebody else. Maybe that's a VA, because at the moment we know, again, that's almost hand in hand with AI, isn't it? Is to get yourself a VA, to get somebody to support you. So they hand it over to someone else to do that, thinking, great, that person is going to be able to run that. But what they then find is that they sort of let go of the reins, hand it over to somebody, and then that doesn't work. It's like either that person isn't sending it out, or they're not checking the messages, or somebody else is even writing those messages.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, this is where, and whether we're talking about AI, staff management, whenever we bring something into our business to help us, the key determining factor is if we don't support that, if we don't check it, if we don't monitor it. The same way, I don't know about you, Katie, but I have a cleaner. I live and die by her because I am shocking at cleaning. However, I am very good at knowing how I want my house to look once it's been cleaned by somebody else. Can't do it, but I certainly don't want to do it, but I'm really good at noticing what it should look like. I had 3 cleaners last year. Because what would happen is I'd bring somebody in, I'd be like, oh, what I'm really looking for is I want the corners done. I want where the dogs are because they're horrific. I really want you to get into the area. I don't care about surface clean. I want you under my sofa. Like, I want you to do all the stuff that I won't do. And every cleaner said, yeah. And then after 3 months, I've gone, do you know what? You're not doing what I've asked you for. But what I haven't ever done, hold my hand up, is gone in after the clean and rang them and gone, look, when you first came in, I said I wanted this. And my sofa's not been moved because they've gone back to what they normally do for most other people, which is a surface clean. And this is the same with AI. If you're going to invest in a piece of kit, then brilliant. Know what it's going to do, what you want the outcome to be, and how you're going to track it and support it. Because yes, my cleaner should be a time saver for me. I shouldn't have to walk around the house afterwards cleaning the corners. Your AI kit, whatever you choose to use, should be a massive time saver for you, but with still key time that you go and manage it. Because if you're not managing it, if you're just letting it and then going, well, do you know what? I invested 10 grand in something to go and generate my business development leads and it's brought me back 1. Why did I do that? I probably say it's because you're
Mm.
not tweaking it and you're not fixing it to make it do what the desired outcome was, and you're not mixing it in with a human. Because let's face it, it's a pretty scary world for the recruitment industry if AI can do our entire job from start to finish. Like, where does that put us?
Yeah.
And now I don't see a future with that in, but I do see a future where we become so reliant on AI that we lose the skill of what we do.
Yeah, 100%. Because we know that, we are all very much, time short in this world. And just as you say, you've got a cleaner because you're time short. You spend the time in your work, in your business, and so you need to have support and help in other areas that, one, aren't even your flow state, but secondly, are essential, but you need somebody else to do it. And that's the same thing here with AI, is that there are absolutely parts of the sales machine that needs to have that consistency to it. It needs to have that volume to it. It needs to have, certain structures to it that are a bit boring. When you think about, the qualities of some of recruiters, it isn't necessarily the area that you want them spending their skill and time in. But somebody needs to do that. And so if you can have a system that supports that and is then run by man, it takes the manual work out, if you like, that copy and paste, that sequencing, that can be executed by machine, but it needs to be directed by man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You've got to have the human touch, haven't you? It's absolutely essential to edit and to alter things that come out of ChatGPT. I mean, I was talking to somebody just the other day, and you and I have said this, haven't we? You can tell if you get an email that is written by ChatGPT, particularly if it's some sort of sales email.
Well, we say you can tell. If you can't tell, then that is bloody brilliant. I worked with a client last year who I had proper envy about how they use ChatGPT, because I adore their content on LinkedIn. I've seen some of their emails. And what they did was they invested time and skill into learning how to create their voice through ChatGPT. And actually, consequently, I wouldn't know their content was created by ChatGPT. They still tweak it, they still make it humanized, but most of it is, please write this in the voice of, and boom, it throws it out. However, what I can tell you is, through scrolling through LinkedIn, as soon as I see an emoji and gear up your team and we're going to make it awesome, and I'm like, oh, brilliant. So you've just paid somebody, like, what do we pay a recruiter nowadays? I've got something between, I suspect, 23 to 50 grand a year to bang something into ChatGPT. On my Recruitment Academy, one of the modules that I teach is advert writing, because when I scroll through the internet, LinkedIn, Read, etc., the vast majority of adverts, I used to see adverts with typos and wish lists and everything that an advert shouldn't be. Now I see automated content. And if you're a passive candidate sitting at home, you've had a bad day at work, and you just decide to scroll through LinkedIn and you see a piece of automated content about a job written by ChatGPT that's taken from a job description, where's the desire there? Whereas if you see something, either a video from a consultant or just a well-written piece of frigging content, an advert that appeals to all the pain points of that candidate, then you get a passive candidate applying. So that's where I think we've got, so I get on my soapbox, I'll just get it out, stand on it. In the industry at the moment, I was in a recruitment company a couple of years ago, and they went, just bang it through ChatGPT and see what comes out with it. And I was like, brilliant, let's use a really sophisticated piece of technology that's, revolutionizing the world as we go through it. Let's just bang it in and see what happens. Like, no, if you're going to use AI, then all for it. Let's make our lives easier. Learn it. There are courses on it. Train yourself, upskill yourself, figure out how to do it, rather than going, hey, this is free, boom, and see what happens. Because what happens is something that you and I can identify as AI content. And then, I don't know about you, Katie, but I don't engage. If I see it come through, I go, nah, not for me. Thanks very much, but I want to read something from a real person.
Yeah, I totally agree because I mean, I feel a bit like, okay, well, I obviously wasn't worth the time then, because you just pinged me a message that's gone to all and sundry, and I already know that. So it has to have some personalised element to it,
And
which you
ideally
can't
not
get.
via first name.
Yeah, yeah, dear Katie Green, or what was it you got the other day? Dear
Yesterday I got
Janet.
dear Janet. It's Jane. It's Jane.
Oh dear. So yeah, I think I totally with you. It's got to have that personalised approach to it. And this is the thing, you can get that. You can marry up, you can get the combination
Yeah.
of man and machine working beautifully, um, in the right way. And I think, like we're saying, we're massive advocates of these tools because, let's be honest, we use them. We see the value of them in our business, and part of what we teach our clients is how they can use them, but how they can use them to execute. Man instructs, and the actual machine executes the process, the
Yeah.
timely parts of the process.
And you know what's really interesting? I don't know about you, Katie. In the conversations I have with past clients, future clients, and present clients, is we're always talking about automating BD. And correct me if it is different in your experience, but that's what people are always talking to me about, and that's the discussions that I get involved in with recruiters. How can I automate it? I don't hear many people talk about automating the candidate experience in terms of the call. Like we all accept, need to screen the candidate, need to ask lots of open probing questions, need to invite them in for a face-to-face meeting, be it by Zoom or face-to-face. And that's accepted. That we know there's not a piece of AI that is going to screen the candidates for us, that is going to be a resourcer or ourselves. But on BD, the other half of the job, we're looking at how can we create something that brings clients to our doors, and that doesn't without the phone call. And that's where I still see that we've got and again, people as we listen, put it in the comments and tell us what you do, tell us if it's different for you. Mass outreach by email and LinkedIn, surely that should mean that there's mass outreach by the phone at some point, and that actually just picking it up. And Diane, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? How many sales calls did you get as an owner of a business last week, Katie?
None.
How many did you get last month, Katie?
None.
None. Like, what's that about? I say the only sales call I got this week was on Bank Holiday Monday when I got a call from a university private accommodation asking if I'd sorted my daughter's next year's accommodation, which I said, look, it's 9 o'clock on Easter Monday. I don't want to have this conversation. Like, call back in business hours. But that's it. And actually, fair play to her.
Yeah, good on her. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I've actually had more door-to-door salespeople come to my house actually in the last 12 months than I have any sales calls. But what's interesting is I can tell you I have had a ton of emails. Every day I am getting emails, and I literally just delete. And then when I've got time, or if I can, I pass them to, our REA, but it's like, right, unsubscribe me to all of this rubbish. I don't even know where people have got my details from. And actually I was talking to another client only the other day, another group, and it was the same thing. Like, how many people are getting headhunting emails from recruitment businesses, and these are supposed to be like multinational leading recruitment businesses, and they've got this consultant, but I'm pretty sure it's some sort of robot which is sending mass emails to recruiters, but founders, CEOs, business owners. Again, if you have this email, pop it in, like, share it with us. These people are getting emails, headhunting emails about consultants' jobs, if you don't mind. I mean, what the hell? How is that going to build your brand, leverage, trust in people, and support you in what you're doing? So, and it goes back. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, this is the thing, isn't it, that I think gives us a real opportunity in this world where, and because ironically as well, when we're using some AI tools not to the best of their ability. So, for example, if we're using ChatGPT or similar to create our outreach messages, we're actually then human mimicking bot, because they're creating content that looks like it's been written by AI, but actually the consultant is still sending it. So it's not being sent by a bot, it's been sent by a human, but looks like it was sent by a bot. I mean, my mind starts to explode there. But I also think, as you know, as an if anybody wanted to know like an instant fix, and we will get there, from this side is, again, when I coach consultants, I talk about being different and standing out in the market. So 22 years ago, it was about meeting your candidates and your clients and not doing it by the phone. Now, in this day and age, I talk about actually saying, hey, this is me, I'm not a bot. Like the power of that. I mean, that's how I built a training business, was I sent voice notes rather than messages on LinkedIn, because every recruitment company I went into, I would say, show me your LinkedIn inbox. And it would be, all the recruiters would be headhunt, 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 verbal, like text, written. And they're all the same. Hey, I appreciate you're really happy in your job right now, but we've got a great opportunity. Or, hey, I know you've been there for a couple of years, but we've got a great opportunity. It was the same noise coming from all the, sorry, rec agencies. There are some fabulous ones out there, but what I was seeing was just the same email rehashed. So what would be the difference if somebody sent you a voice note and everybody was like, well, I'd play it because I'm interested. So what if somebody sent you a really good voice note that said, hey, it's Jane from Centered Excellence, just to be really clear, because I know you probably get a lot of written messages, and I suspect, like me, you probably think they're all AI. Like, we have got an opportunity now to not sell against automation, because as we've identified, it's a great tool. But actually, I'm taking the real time out of my day to make a verbal outreach. Same with video, so long as your video is personalized. If your video is just, hey, I'm reaching out today, then it's not personalized. That's the same as AI. Like if it's, hey, Katie, I'm Jane, and I'm reaching out today, boom, we've got a far better impression. So use AI for what it's needed for, but we've got to get the person back into recruitment.
Yeah, and this goes back to optimizing, I think, quality over quantity. So we generate better qualified leads because we've got a personal touch. We're identifying the right avatar. We're understanding their pain points and their desires. We're crafting a message that talks to their pain points and desires. Yeah. We are standing out from other recruitment businesses because we're making it personalized and we're really understanding what it is that they want. We've got the human touch to it. Yes, we can still use some AI to support us to make sure those follow-up and those sequences are there, because we know that it takes around anything between 5 to 30 touch points for somebody to convert. So we can still have that in there in a timely manner, but it goes back to somebody's experience with us and making sure that we're optimizing that customer experience, delivering exceptional results, but also that we are looking to make sure that we really hone in on who those people are, because then we can spend more time, energy, and attention on them because they're the right people versus spamming lots and lots of different people. I'm not suggesting anyone listening does that. I guess what I'm sharing here is because I know as well, you've probably heard this, Jane, but we've had people, haven't we, come to our program and say, look, I've just spent, a shit load of money on marketing funnels that I thought were going to generate me leads, this business development funnel. And actually, I haven't yielded any results, and I've spent all this money. And that's because they've missed a vital ingredient, which is understanding that niche, understanding that pain point. And the most important thing is the writing of the messages. The writing of the messages haven't included the pain point, and they haven't been done by an expert. And this is why, we have somebody in our business that helps our clients to write these messages, because I'm not a content writer, and I certainly wouldn't have been a content writer as a recruiter. I was rubbish at writing job adverts. So you need...
The reason I train on it is because of Katie Green.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I was rubbish. So you've got to have the right people on the right parts of the job, haven't you? Absolutely. So bringing that back to what we're saying here is that, massive advocate combination, but also, now I'm on my soapbox. Also, here's the other thing that I was going to say is there is already so much low-hanging fruit that people have got in their business that they are potentially missing out on, that they're not optimizing as much as they could. and, in the way of business development.
Oh God, absolutely. And yeah, there is all this sex appeal of the markets feel tighter this year and last year, so I've got to go on the hunt for new business, and so much neglect of where we've been and where we've serviced before. And I think it's your phrase, isn't it? Let's get fat in your own backyard before we go anywhere else. Before I implement any form of business development campaign, or a new candidate campaign, let's go regenerate and see what we've got. Because again, to go back to being 46, but we used to do monthly calls to prospect clients. We did service, and I know we've talked about this before Christmas, Katie. We used to do service level reviews with everybody we placed with, and we used to do feedback calls with everybody we didn't place with. So our touch point of anybody who was a buying client or potentially a buying client was continuous. What we didn't do was presume that our monthly newsletter that we send out every month, that's written by AI, and our posts on LinkedIn, and anybody that's traded with me knows I'm a huge advocate of your brand on LinkedIn, but as part of a cog that makes the clock work, as it were. I shall lose my point very quickly. But there's got to be that element of who do we know that knows us, and being in their world repeatedly, because if you're not, we're forgotten about in most industries, unless you are absolutely outstanding or a little bit below average, you're not remembered. So we're remembered, that one time we didn't call the client back, they remember us, our name is in blood on the wall, never deal with that recruitment agency, they didn't call me back. Or we're absolutely flipping exceptional. But anything in between, and the best way of doing that is, hey, Katie, how are you? Do you remember we worked together on that role a couple of weeks ago? Just thought I'd follow up. How's the new starter bedding in? Like, we have so many reasons to call people once we start that relationship. But a lot of the time we are fixated on how do we build this machine to go and get all of the new business, which then we've got to manage.
Yeah, you're right. So here's the invitation, I would say, because here's the opportunity that everyone has. So the first thing that I'd be thinking about if I'm listening to this is, okay, how are we optimizing our customer experience? How are we leveraging our existing clients? So in other words, how could we get our clients faster results? So what's your service offering? Are you delivering exceptional results? Have you even thought about retainers, for example, or exclusivity? Optimize your sales process, increase your conversions for the client. Okay, let's look at what are my conversions for my current clients? How could I improve those or optimize that sales process so that I could actually fill the roles again faster? Can I increase my fee, or can I increase the value of the roles that you recruit for? Now, that's not a business development tactic, but what that is a way in which, if you're working with clients, you can work with less clients rather than more. And you get sticky. What does our client need most? What are they crying out for from agencies, but they're not getting? How can we deliver that? What's an enhanced value that we can offer to our clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, rather than that, because it is, and that is probably the thing that I say we should leave in the past. I don't know about you, Katie, but I remember my KPIs when I started in recruitment was something like 4 vacancies, 6 candidates registered, 2 client meetings, 1 vacancy covered. So although I was targeted to get 4 jobs, for anyone that doesn't know what a vacancy covered is, it means you've got a first interview out. So I was targeted to raise 4 jobs and targeted to cover 1. So effectively, I was saying that I was only ever aiming to get interviews out to 25% of the jobs that I was taking on. That, I think, should stay exactly where it is. Like, if you've got 10 clients and you're only filling 20% of those jobs, let's get stuck into that and look at what's going on with those clients. How can we improve those relationships? And which clients do we have to say, look, I'm really sorry, but we give you lots of time and love and we're not getting anywhere with it. For now, we're going to back away, but we've got some better solutions when you want to come back. Like, let's get tough on our service offering and spend more time with the clients that we can do a better service for, and then in turn make more money. So we've drifted completely now away from AI into, but I think linking it back, we're talking about building in funnels, etc., to building more business. But actually, are we missing the business that's already under our nose?
Yeah,
And
so I think it's two things, isn't it? It's what I call warm leads that are there right now within somebody's, we call it the fan club, don't we? But within your existing or previous clients or existing or previous candidates, there's low hanging fruit there that are warm leads. You need a process for those on how you're going to follow up and how you're going to start to systemize that into a process where you can get more business. And then there's the cold leads, which is where the automation can be working alongside, man, i.e. the messages need to be written by a person,
absolutely.
but the actual execution of that from technology can support from a timely perspective. So that's really what we're saying, aren't we? There's definitely a place for it, but it's actually the management of that process. And don't forget what you've already got underneath your nose, or what is already within your network.
Is it? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, so if you're sitting there going, if you're doing, which I know I would do, if I said a recruitment company, looking and having calls with lots of different people about lots of different pieces of software and AI, the first thing I would be doing is say, what do I already know? How can I make money? How have I made money in the past? How can I replicate that? And then what tools can help me achieve this goal? Not I need more clients. I'm going to go and do all of this stuff. I'm going to auto post to my LinkedIn 3 times a week. And I'm going to, let's get strategic about what you actually want to achieve. And then what's the tools that you need to do it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, exactly, because, we help with both. And I appreciate we are limited for time today. So what I would say is anyone that's listening, if you want to go deeper on this, if you want to get help creating your own sales machine, that consistent flow of leads into the business and your conversion of that, like looking at what is already in your ecosystem, the resources that will help you to take advantage. If you want more about this topic, or you're ready, you want to have a chat with somebody about mapping that out. What does that look like? How could I do that? Then there is a link below this session where you can book to have a chat with us if you want to. And as always, we ask, please give us your feedback on rating this topic, this session. And if there are other topics that you'd like to hear about, please also, if you have 2 minutes, pop that below so that we can make sure that whatever we're feeding you are the things that you want to hear about. So that'd be great. Okay, so I think that brings us to an end.
It has. I've packed away my soapbox. Feel much better for that. There'll be some people nodding along. And again, you've got a great piece of AI. Share it. Let's
brilliant.
Right. But at the same point,
we'd love to hear. Okay, well, that's us for today, guys. And as I say, get in contact if there's anything that you want to ask us or you want to hear about the Academy, which is
starts next week.
It does. Okay, so do you want to just mention that, the Academy?
Yeah, so I run a recruitment academy, which is aimed at consultants or solopreneurs. Actually, we've had quite a number of solopreneurs come on to enhance their skill base. And we either do it in business development or in resourcing. It's 2 separate courses. It's group and it's live training. So it's a lot of me doing this on your screen. But the topics that we will cover, the full life cycle of sales and the full life cycle of resourcing, not to bore anybody too much. It's a great course. We had a brilliant email this week, didn't we, from somebody who has sold 2 60,000 retainers off the back of the training, which warms our hearts from that side. If you want to know more, if you want those kinds of results, just drop me a note and I will be in touch.
Amazing. Okay, so that's it for us. We will see you again on the next episode. Take care,
everybody. Guys. Bye.
Have a great day.